Hello and welcome to this first episode in a new series of shorts that we're calling HealthSeeker Sparks. And I'm joined by my good friend and colleague, Dean Martin. Morning, Dean. How are you today?
Good morning. Good morning. I'm all
Good. Those of you who don't know Dean Martin, quick, can you do a 10-second intro? I'll do 20.
all right. Oh, probably 20 years health and fitness industry, a variety of roles. Started way back in Crossing and Leisure days, and now working for a wellbeing company, international wellbeing company, as their head of marketing operations. So we work across the globe with organisations embedded wellbeing to their corporate environments, I guess.
Perfect. Yeah, good intro. And if you're watching this, I guess you probably do know me, but in a nutshell, Guy Griffiths, I help people to get fitter and healthier by working with clubs, mostly or historically on retention initiatives, but I'm much more interested in getting new demographics into clubs, people that we call health seekers, which is why we're here. There's a few, this is going to follow on the Health Seeker Stories podcasts that we've got. But the idea is these are 10, 15-minute chats, initially between Dean and myself, hopefully with some other guests as well, but just start to help people to shift their thinking and to start to help more people to be healthier, but also help the fitness industry to develop and grow and become more resilient. Now, most of the Health Seeker Stories has been me interviewing other people, but we wanted to turn this around a little bit. It is going to be more conversational, but I'm actually going to throw it over to Dean now to interview me a little bit, but I'm also going to ask him some questions.
And Guy, I think you've done a marvelous job. You are an industry face that you're seen on panels and hosting summits, and you're always out there and everybody knows you on the networking circuit. And I guess you're always in this chair. You're always asking the questions to others. So I think you've been banging the Health Seeker drum now for some time, and it's only fair that I think we switch around to put you in the hot seat. So here we go. You are in the hot seat today. And I remember when we first started the Health Seeker Stories, one of the first questions was, what is a health seeker to you? You know what? Let's start that tradition. Let's fire it back at you. So when we think of the word health seeker and a definition for that, what does it mean to you?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for putting me on the spot, Dean. There's lots of other versions in 30 episodes of the podcast, including your own. We'll come back to that. But for me, a health seeker is somebody who doesn't want to work out, doesn't want to exercise, but less of the doesn'ts, what they don't want to do. What they do want to do is they want to be healthier. And there are many, many more people out there than we have members of gyms who want to be healthier, but they don't want to be fitter. They don't want to work out. And often it's called the 80%. We'll dig into that a little bit, either in this or other episodes. But lots and lots of people want to be healthier, but they don't want to work out. And very simply, to me, that's what a health seeker is. And I believe we are perfectly positioned as the fitness industry. We'll get into nomenclature and stuff, but we are really well positioned to help those people. But as I say, there's 30 plus other definitions through the podcast. There's yours. Yours was episode 2. And it might have changed because it's been a year or so since we recorded that episode. But go on. What was a succinct health seeker definition for you now?
Well, I can't even remember what I said back then. I should have watched it before coming back on. I think for me, the health seeker is me. I'm mid-50s. I'm thinking longevity. I'm thinking better health longer. And for me, I am not a natural gym goer. I spent 20 years in and around the health and fitness industry, and I was not a gym member. It didn't appeal to me. I like the being outside. And funny enough, I've only just come back to roller skating after 30 odd years. So misspent youth being a skate marshal back in the leisure centres back in the day. And I've now started roller skating again. So that's the kind of fitness and fun and the healthy routines or habits that I enjoy. Something with a more exhilaration or fun, not necessarily working out in the gym. So for me, I was in a nutshell, a mid-50s guy who is looking for better health for longer as I age.
Yeah. And I really like that roller skating analogy because it isn't the gym.
No.
And there's a lot of people in the fitness industry who are going to go, no, we need to get people to work out. There's people on GLP-1, which I definitely want to dig into in future episodes. We need to get them to lift weights. We do, but have you thought about trying to get them to roller skate? No, but that does appeal. And I think there's something else here about, I was thinking about it this morning. How have I been healthier today?
Yeah.
I have been to the gym. Okay. But I've also decided to walk across town to the coffee shop rather than drive. I also decided not to have a croissant, but to have a black coffee. There's all these little decisions that we make that help us be healthier. And this is how I think we need to think more. But other definitions, and I like the 50-year-old male thing. I'm there with you, Dean.
Yeah.
And that was Neil King's definition was around, we get past halfway and we think, okay, is it a downward slope now? That's a great episode. But a lot of other people's definitions of health seekers is everyone, all people. I don't know. We always are told that we should niche. I think we niche a bit too much sometimes in the fitness industry. I think we do need to broaden it. But again, we'll get into that in future episodes, I think.
Magic. Okay, great start. Thank you very much. And a great reminder for me because, it would be good to look back on episode 2 just to find out how different I positioned it back then. But there's a whole backstory on my episode 2 and how I came to health seeking. Well, I want to dig into another, not definition, but the reason why. Why health seekers and why you and health seekers together. So why is Guy on this mission for health seekers?
Yeah. Okay. Another great question. Thank you. It has grown out of retention and it still is retention. So it's what I've done. What I came out of the city to do was to get people healthier. I thought about becoming a PT and I probably could have done, and I could have helped 100 people a week if I was very successful at that. But I used the skills that I had in terms of consulting and data and reporting, but also coaching and soft skills to help retention. And one of the things I recognized after a few years working in the fitness industry is that body composition devices are a great interaction excuse, and it helps instructors or coaches to help people develop and help people stick around longer. But I really started questioning why we're only using those Tanitas and InBodies and Sakas and all those body tracks devices on members alone. And why can't we get more people into our clubs to give them a health check? Because we've got these great devices and we've also got these great people. And if they could be good coaches or just think more coach-like, then they could definitely help people, health seekers, who don't want to work out, rather than just have 1,000 people at members of a gym who are doing classes and exercising and picking up heavy stuff and putting it down again. We could be bringing the public in, the health seekers in. And this is, I do have a slide. I normally draw this in the air, but we do actually have a slide that describes this a little bit. There's your 1,000 members in the gym. And what we're doing is we're putting another layer on the bottom. So rather than trying to get more money from the people at the top, we're putting another layer of health seekers at the bottom that come into our site once a month or possibly even once a quarter for their health check and their coaching and their health education, advice, motivation. And then they go off and do a park run or drink more water or buy a dog. So the why for health seekers, it's multifold, but part of it is let's use what we've got already to help more people and have more people who have some kind of subscription or just a connection with our site. We're not going to convert many of them to members. If we have another 1,000 people paying us £10 a month to visit once, then it's a great resource. One or two of them, maybe even 10% of them, might join and might become gym members. But that's not the pathway for the majority of them. The pathway for the majority of them is a signpost to an active well-being walk or to a box of vegetables from Abel and Cole or Riverford or somewhere like that, because they want to be healthier. So let's not run with that.
And I think actually our paths crossed in COVID.
Yeah.
And I'd already started this mission. We hadn't called it Health Seekers then. You mentioned body composition. And for me, I was looking at our customer journey within our facility and our service offerings. And as a fitness industry, we're not great at customer journeys. We think we are because we have a really definite mapped out 6-week intervention of somebody that usually starts at the point of someone buying the membership. And then we have
Mm.
this high touch 6-week plan and not a great deal after and nothing before. And I was thinking, how can we play with this? Once I've come across this body composition and particularly the metabolic age, it was the
Yes.
metabolic age I found really quite, it wasn't weight, it wasn't embarrassing people in how much you weigh and things. This metabolic age was a little bit of fun. And dare I
Mm.
say, almost top trumps. You ended up comparing what's your metabolic age and what's your metabolic age.
Yep.
And for me, it was like, how can I get this into people's hands faster, quicker to help them understand there is a neutral measure that is quite fun that you can use to go, how can I start improving that metabolic age? And that whole idea of that better health longer is what I got excited about. And so I worked across our multi-sites about how can we get more people stood on those scales to get a metabolic age, to get them excited and intrigued and motivated to know a little bit more and then offer that support.
Absolutely. And dare I say, some of the pyramids that you were drawing back then,
Mm.
which some of which came out of Technogym, just to give them a shout as well,
Yeah, absolutely.
are replicated. This is page 10. It is the Shift to Health Seekers playbook. We'll probably bring up a couple more pages, but we're not going to go through the whole thing now.
No, not today. So to springboard off of this, the whole idea of this, that the membership models or our traditional membership models, let's just take a shift, to use a phrase. What is the one change you would make today to either start or continue your journey on Health Seekers?
And this is talked about a lot, Dean, but I think it's about the language and what we're selling. And an example is recovery, which to you and I, and some of the great stuff you did with Pavelka, it is recovery is rest or even sleeping, rather than, I shouldn't mention brands, but a Theragun or some kind of compression gear or jumping in a ice cold bath. That's great for athletes. And for a lot of my friends and contacts in the fitness industry, that's what recovery means. But you're not going to get many health seekers doing that kind of stuff.
Mm.
Recovery is probably more about going to bed a bit earlier or playing Sudoku in your lunch break rather than eating your sandwiches at your desk and then carrying on with work. So I think it's a language thing, but also the fitness industry, it talks to the kind of fads and the health optimization, but we need to talk more to the health seeker demographic than think about health optimization or biohacking. Drinking more water is biohacking.
Absolutely is.
It's not necessarily sticking a chip on your arm or a wearable or other things like that. They're great for the already motivated. I think the one change is just changing the language, not dumbing it down, but making it simpler and talking to people about the kind of things that they want to do and then helping with that. But I'm sure we'll have lots of other snippets and one things. Is there one thing you would say, Dean, in terms of one change
No,
this industry should make?
I think we talk about this shift. So the whole playbook is positioned to talking about make that shift to health seekers. And just by changing some language, some really easy stuff to do internally. So internally with your team, start talking about health and fitness in a different kind of way. It's not just the gym. It's more than that. It is this 55-year-old who wants to live healthier longer. And what can I access? It is that signposting to go and do part run, all of the health walks that happen out there. So for me, I think mindset, and initially mindset to go, do you know what? let's stop competing for the people who will always buy memberships. I remember having a conversation with someone and they said, the problem with your industry, Dean, is that you're always selling memberships to people interested in memberships. And that really stuck with me. Why do we keep focusing on this, what we call the merry-go-round of memberships, where we just pass our members around? And it's bonkers. So for me, making that shift is that the growth is not necessarily sitting in that 17% of already members. It's bigger than that. There is a big population out there. Me, I'm not a gym member, but I'm interested in my health. What services and support can you give me? And that starts with some simple language. So I think mindset, language, I think work well together.
Yeah, perfect. I think that's a really good jumping off point for what we talk about next. It is that mindset and that shift. But if you watch this and listen to this, what should people do next, Dean, other than tune into the next episode?
Yeah, for me, I'm just a health seeker evangelist. If anything, you know, I work inside of an organization that we work in corporate, but I'm also passionate about helping operators and creating that network of access for people like me that can find that support. So what can you do next? Stay tuned to both of all of these stories, but also Guy flashed up a slide earlier and it was just a tease on the membership models. That is page 10 of our playbook that we've written together. And what this playbook does is challenge your mindset around health seekers and start thinking about what health seekers either means to you or how you can then apply the health seeker themes within your operations. So download the playbook. The URL is there, or you can hit the QR code to scan and download it. And also, if you've already got the playbook, there is a nifty little checklist towards the end of that playbook, again, that will start you on your journey to start asking questions of yourself, start thinking about your mindset, sharing it with the team, and start introducing that language across your operations. So I would say that would be the first step. And then, by all means, just reach out and drop Guy a line, any questions that you may have. And also, we talked about the definition right from the start. If you're watching this, if you have got an opinion or a definition on your health seeker, let's bring them in. So drop them in the comments wherever this will show. But also just drop your comments. We'll be interested in your definition of health seekers, and we'll start pulling these together just to see how wide and varied opinion really is.
Yeah, there'll be more of these. And if you want us to cover a particular topic, as Dean says, drop it in the comments. Or, yeah, I'd love to hear your health seeker definition as well. So pop those in the comments and we'll give you a Joe Wicks style shout out on the next episode. So thanks so much for listening, Dean. Thanks for firing the questions at me. I'll see you again next week. And yeah, tune in again for more.
Absolutely. See you soon.